Can you take me back to the place when art first resonated with you?
Yes, when I was born. Well, actually, I think that when I was like really very, very young, I was about 8, 9. Um, I was just going into this paints and feeling it. It's not about it's not about what you do and what is the result. It's about what you feel.
Okay.
And actually, a lot of people are really scared of touching the paint. It's like uh, I used to work with little children, and it's about them enjoying and experiencing that touch and being messy. And if you allowed to do that, So yes, I think I was about 8. And I mean, I grew up in Soviet Union. And the only paints we used to have was watercolors and gouache. So watercolors never interested me because there is no texture. I always wanted texture. I'm a very tactile person, Yeah. So gouache was my best friend. And yeah, I was just I never used the brushes, and I never actually do that now. Very rare when I really need to do something very, very precise. But mostly it was like
Yeah.
and my mom used to look at that, and she was like, that's very, very much like Impressionism. Oh, that looks like Van Gogh. That she was very, very upper class, lazy, into art and stuff. And yeah, I think the first painting I did when I was 8, and I actually have it now somewhere in my cupboard since my mum passed away, and I just picked up things which I really wanted to keep. So, but then that was childhood. But really consciously, I started to use the art as it is as a flow to express yourself when I was in teenage.
Yes, that expression of what you're feeling. So, how would you go about getting your expressions and the emotions that you're feeling out onto the canvas or whatever you were?
Exactly. It was, I think I was maybe 15, first love, all this, butterflies, and then broken heart, and then all the emotions. And I remember I mean, well, I always felt that I'm kind of different. If I feel, I feel. I feel like it can be here or down there. It's like all about this wave. And when you have it inside you, you really need to take it out. Obviously, with years, I learn all different kind of practices, which I'm sure we're going to talk about later. But that first thing was to express it, to take it out. How? And the first thing I found was the paint. So it was like, you know, the very, very big artist, Pollock, which I've been heard like so many times. Oh, your paintings are really much like Pollock. I was like, what? Who is that? And then when I saw the way he was painting, that's exactly what I do. That's exactly how I do it, especially how I used to do it when it was about my own healing, my own expression. So if it's pain, if it's happiness, it just goes.
So, who encouraged that? It seems like you found the ability to express yourself through art quite early. And for myself, I did an art GCSE, which I was okay at art, but I really didn't enjoy the GCSE. I sort of grew up copying and drawing and coloring and like making my own cartoons sort of things. And I got to GCSE quite up for it. And then it was just look at this artist, research this artist, do something in the style of this artist just again and again. And I never got that feeling that you're talking about where I was expressing myself or finding my way of doing art. It sounds like you found that very early. Who sort of encouraged that? Was that family or school?
No one. No.
Just you?
No, I just, actually, probably that was a really good thing because no one encouraged me. I just felt really, it was all this, unbalanced, emotional. Like nowadays, I look at my daughter, for example, she's 12, and whatever she has emotionally, I understand that, and I'm there for her. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay to feel anyway. Like, you want to cry, you cry. You want to scream, you scream. You want to dance, you dance. You want to, I don't know, laugh, you laugh. But then in my teenage, it was nothing like that. No one would understand us. Like, no one would even care because parents were so busy at work. They had their own life, and we were, just there for ourselves. So it just came with the flow, and it was my only way of healing. At that time, I didn't understand that, but then with years and years and years, it just came across, just always being there. When I came to this country 20 years ago, it was not easy. Like, no one was waiting for me here with with like a golden plate. And as I was going through all the life and difficulties and growing up, um, it was always canvas. It was always art. But I used to give away a lot of paintings. Like, for example, it would be a birthday of like a friend. We didn't have money at that time, and we used to have a say. Whatever the best present is, the present which you did with your own hands. And I would always paint, and I would always give. And then when I was doing that, I would have this person in mind. I would have this person and whatever I want to give to this person. So I would give all my love and any other like nice, bright feelings on the canvas. So that would be different. But that would be, again, that sort of flow of, expression and whatever comes from me.
I think those are the best gifts, like you say, like the things that you put a bit of effort into, the thing that maybe in that artwork portrays your feelings about that person. And we so often will think, oh, how much money do I spend on this person? Like, what's enough or what's too little? And then I heard about someone recently who they asked for their wedding, they asked for everyone to gift them a vinyl of a album or a song that makes that guest think of the couple. And then they sat down and listened to all of them and sort of felt that. It was a nice sort of the same as art, expressing those emotions about how you feel about that person, really.
And then when I had my first solo exhibition, it was in Latvia, in the place where I'm coming from. I remember I said there were a lot of friends and people who had my paintings since I was 15 and whatever. And I said, the only thing I have is, like, in my mind, is to get very, very famous, not only for myself. Like, I would like that, but it doesn't have a big something behind it. What I really want is when I become famous, you're going to sell all these paintings and you're going to like sell them for a lot of money and you're going to do whatever you want. And people were like, what? So that was my biggest intention. And it still is.
Yeah.
It still is.
That's awesome. Big goals. That's good. So you've mentioned sort of that spiritual side of things, and you've previously described your art as the portal to the unseen. Where was the first crossover from the physical art to the spiritual side of things for you?
I would say I always been looking for, like it's really hard to explain in like normal words. When you feel that there is something out there, something bigger, something more. It's like an energy. I always had a very good intuition, and I was for like quite a while. I was quite scared about that because, like, when someone says something and you know the answer or you know what's gonna happen, it's like ooh, spooky. They used to call me a witch, still do, and now I'm fine with that. But like, I would know. I would just know
Yeah.
without knowing. I would feel, and it would be quite like, well, why? How many times I was asking myself, why I cannot be normal? Like sometimes you don't really want to feel that deep. You don't really want to know that much. And when you look at the person and you just read everything and you hear what is behind the scene. So I was always looking for something I could kind of put into material. And then it was quite a while ago, about 15 years ago, I went to that like a journey, I would say. Um, so I just realized that, I need to accept what I have. And without this, I wouldn't be myself. So I started searching. I was just like so hungry for understanding. And this is when I started doing Kundalini yoga, tantric practices, and then obviously the sacred geometry came to my life. And because I was always doing art, but then the sacred geometry, but my art was like there. It was just a flow, a crazy flow, the tsunami. Yeah. And then when sacred geometry came, it just went into structure. Oh, I'm just saying, I have goosebumps now. It just grounded all of that big, big, big wave there. It just grounded properly and like showed the well, obviously it showed the materia. So it just went into the order. So that's how it was connected. And I think that I wouldn't be where I am if I would not have that spiritual experience, the awakening, that, that being in that acceptance of your big consciousness, not just, living, going to work, doing nothing, not thinking about like I have global thoughts like all the time. I always had that, and then now even more. If I travel in the tube and I see people around me, and I just feel like for me it's quite a trauma actually. This is why I drive everywhere. I just feel their anxieties, their fears, that, and I'm like, ooh.
And does that then affect you as well, how you're feeling?
I just feel sad because I always want bigger. Like I see this world in a bigger picture. It's about, being truthful to yourself. And actually, it's not easy. Like, it's not easy at all. Most of the times, when you are real and truthful and honest, it's painful. This is why people don't go this way. And what sacred geometry does, and like in general, the symbols and like, using this kind of tool, it actually gives you like, it faces you. It's like you just looking in the mirror and you're like, oh my God.
So can you tell us a bit more about what sacred geometry is? Because you've said it and maybe I've got an understanding, but just for anyone listening who doesn't quite know.
Yeah. As I said, it's a shame I forgot that painting, which I thought would be nice. But in the bigger picture, if we talk about what is it, is a science, is like the first science, the science of universe, the science of life, and everything what we have around us is based on sacred geometry. It's architecture, is music, is maths, is nature, is galaxy, is our cells. It's all sacred geometry. It's like, from the shell where you just see that spiral, which is the sacred geometry symbol.
Okay.
Fibonacci spirals, and what else? Pluto. All these big names in like Asians and back in the years, they basically already showed that. Leonardo da Vinci, the biggest name, he showed that to the universe, to people, but at that time it was not kind of accepted. And now there are so many people who see, and actually I'm so happy to see a lot of scientists who are actually who don't do anything with like spiritual awakening. Well, they think so, but they do. But then they just prove, scientifically, this. If you look at how the cell, let's say, when a woman gets pregnant, to have the proper seed and to start the life in the womb, they did a lot of different kind of scientific researches, and under microscope, they were looking at how cell is actually created. So the cell is created in a symbol, in one of the most important symbols of sacred geometry, the flower of life. So there is a sparkle or a spark, then there is a round circle. And then around that first circle, there are another 6 circles. And every circle gives the new, I have it somewhere here, gives the new way, the new wave, the new step. And this is how, and this is how I use sacred geometry. It's not about creating something, I don't know, if we're talking about practice, I call it art meditation. Yeah. So with those symbols, you can open up, you can balance yourself, you can actually see that it's easy. If you do it on the white paper, if you just do a circle after circle and the next circle is giving you the next step, it's like a monogram kind of thing. But then this is what we can do in life. Sometimes you just need to be step by step by step and just be focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you spoke about how was it Da Vinci you said did it before, and it wasn't really accepted in that time.
Yeah.
Is it more accepted now? Is there still people that are skeptical, and how do you deal with that as well?
I don't deal with that. Well, yeah, it is at the moment. Well, I can tell you, 10 years ago, when I started already giving classes and talking about that, people used to come and say, "Oh, hello, you're cuckoo, completely out of order." I was like, okay, whatever. Now, everybody knows about flower of life. Everybody thinks that they are masters in sacred geometry, and good for them. But for me, sometimes I'm just looking at the copies of whatever I did in the past 10 years, and I'm thinking, wow, that's good. So that means that it's needed, My question is how people do it, because like you cannot just learn how to draw a symbol and go and give it to people in the way of healing practice, because this is a journey. And if you didn't live that journey yourself, none of the certificates, none of the whatever hours of study will give what it's needed to be given to people. Because, when, for example, at the moment, the life is in the stage where obviously everywhere you go, everyone is a coach, is a transformator of the life. Everyone knows how to help each other or people. But then when you ask them and go deep into the actual person and you ask them, and what about you? They have so many traumas. They have so many like blocks and any I don't want to swear.
No, go for it.
Any shit in their life, then you think, oh, well, then what are you going to give to these people? What are you trying to proceed there?
I think a lot of people try and do that and use helping others as a bandage for not having to look at themselves.
Exactly.
And to not have to dive into what they're feeling and be open about that, because I'm helping all these people. Like, that's great. Like, look at the good I'm doing. Don't look at me, but...
Yeah. But this is how they work through their traumas. I mean, they don't walk through their traumas. They actually, a lot of people put their traumas on other people. So there are great masters and specialists, and I know these people. And like, seriously, I know great psychologists. I know great teachers of transcendental consciousness and tantric and sacred geometry as well. And I respect these people, but these are the people who don't go out there and don't shout, "Oh, I'm great, I'm the best, I am here to help, I'm gonna save your lives." No way. It's a fashion now. And that is quite sad for me, because you cannot go with the trend of fashion while you didn't experience a lot. Because, as I said before, if you didn't experience, if you didn't live that through, you will never understand. And especially with symbolic, if we're talking about that, like, I've spent, I think, 2 years of my personal crisis and catharsis of, just understanding that the life I'm living is not what I want. I have 2 little children. I have a husband who I hate. I want to divorce. I am on my own in a different country. I have no family here. And what am I going to do? And it was shocking when I said, okay, I need to start from the scratch. And all of my friends, like I would say half of my friends said, "Yo, she went mad. She's crazy. What is she doing there? Some kind of practices, shamanic, anything." Yeah. And a lot of friends just left, and I was like, "Okay, that's great. Let's clear this space." Then I started having different people who were not toxic, who were actually in the same path that me. They were searching. They were trying to find a new way of living, a new path, a new planet, I would say, inside yourself. So I've spent 2 years of drawing every day. And I'm saying every day, it was like this. I would take, my son was in year 2, I think, year 2, and my daughter was still in nursery. I would take them in the morning. I would come home at 9 o'clock. I would sit down, and I have the alarm at 3. So I pick up the son and then go to pick up the daughter. And then from 9 to 3, I wouldn't move. I would be there just going like, and then when I started, it was just drowning me there. Yeah. Drowning. But then I started just seeing things, just like, when you're there and you understand, this here now, because of that. So the puzzle started to kind of get to the proper point of being life, be in reality. The other thing which was very beneficial is the loudness, this constant loudness in my brain, in my head, just disappeared. So when people ask me now, what are you thinking about? I'm like, nothing. And I don't think about anything constantly. I can feel something. This is different. And I let every feeling go through. And it doesn't always mean that it's going to be something good, butterflies and unicorns. No way. We're living. I'm alive. I live like so big, and it's constant, feelings. But it's not about thinking. So there is no that. How what is it, like a mixer
For overthinking.
Yes.
Sort of that, loads of different thoughts going around at the same time.
No, I don't think about anything. If I need to think about something, like let's say there is a question and I need to decide what to do here, this is when I switch on.
What's your process for going through feelings? So you said about feeling things, and I think a lot of people will have a negative feeling and just like push it aside or try and find an excuse for it. Oh, it's not really going to bother me that because of this. And then they just like stack it away, and it eventually builds up and comes out at a later date. So why is it important to feel everything, bad ones included? And also, when you do feel those, what's your process for going through it? How long do you sit in that for? Does it vary? How do you work through that?
It's like a flow. So imagine our body is our temple, and imagine that it's empty. So if it's like an empty space, to feel is to let the energy go through. And those energies or understanding of the feeling, there is a big difference about emotions and feelings. Emotions is like what we react and how we react to the pattern we obviously been, grown up with, in the boxes, in the rules, anything like that. But the feeling is a flow. So it can be like that. Now you feel sad. And when you let this sadness be in every cell of your body, when you just let it be and you accept it, and you are like saying to yourself, yeah, I'm saying to myself, yes, I'm sad now. I'm so sad now. And I'm not kind of holding it. If I want to cry, I cry. If I want to laugh, I laugh. If I want to dance, I dance. This is the freedom. This is like, it's the body language as well. Even from body language, I can just look at the person and say, oh, okay, right. I know everything about that. So it's how you connect it to your body. And then, as I said, when you let anything go through you, it works very quick. Like, let's say I started with being sad. If you accept that I'm sad and you let yourself being sad, after 20 minutes max, it will go.
Yeah.
Because as a flow, it will kind of and then disappear. And the same, like, just yesterday, I had a really interesting day. I've been working with a client one-to-one. That's what I do, and I love it because it's really like going deep and digging. And I am a digger. It's about opening up and living, And she said, Polina, this is so strange. I'm so scared. Is it okay to feel what I feel? I'm like, yes. Finally, you feel. Let yourself. again, I have goosebumps all over. You feel this is the most important is to feel.
It's a breakthrough, right?
It is. And it's like, so many people, especially at my age, I'm a bit older than you. Let's say, when we live half of the life in those rules and structures and being strong and doing this and trying to, all these masks, yes, everything is fine with me, I'm okay. And then deep inside, there is a hole and it's burning, 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 burning. But then, it cannot stay this way. It just gets to the point where there will be like volcano. So this is what we don't want. And that is probably one of the most important things for me when I work with people, because I'm really harsh. I am very straightforward. I can be rude sometimes, rude in the way that I say things which people don't like to hear, because I see it and I say it straightforward. I can take all the shit out. I can bring all the traumas out. I have loads of clients who I love to bits, and they do, but sometimes they call me and they're like, "Do you know what? You can fuck off." I'm like, "Whoa, fantastic. Now we open up."
Yeah.
And this is the best. This is like that nectar. For me, this is the most important thing. And of course, it's the combination of a lot of, it's a mixture of practices. But the main tool for me is the sacred geometry and the symbols and the art. And sometimes we do art with the flow. But then what I was saying, and coming back to the feelings, is so many people on the planet Earth are just holding and holding and holding. And then we see craziness, then we see anxieties, then we see people on antidepressants, and then we see people who just want to run away from reality. And they pretend to be fine. They pretend to be normal. They pretend that everything is good, but it's not. And this is about honesty.
And it's becoming more and more an issue, this anxiety, depression, all of these feelings. And you've got things now like social media, and everyone's got a phone in their pocket since 2010. This is something that humanity's never had. And we're now just fed information all day long. And it's addicting, and it keeps us on it, and it outrages us. So it gets all these emotions that come out of nowhere. I think like outrage and anger is a useful emotion because it tells you that you're not happy with something. But if you're feeling it every 30 seconds for different reasons, every time you flick, it's not useful in any way. So therapy is one way that some people deal with it, and some people will say that therapy doesn't work for them. I'm talking about speech therapy, just talking to someone, opening up about things and letting them guide that and finding the answers yourself almost. But you can link it up with this art as well, which is what you do, right? So that meditation, and you've spoken about healing. So where does the art come into it, and what sort of people could this be useful for?
Oh, anyone. Coming just that word which you used, anger. This is amazing. Like, I'm so happy that you touched that subject, because again, people are not allowing themselves to feel, or not to feel, to express the anger, because it's bad. It's bad, but it's not. Anger is the energy. Is the energy of one of the chakras. One of the most important one is the solar plexus. This is our sun. So anger energy can be very destructive and very dangerous, but it can be really cool. It can be like an oil for getting there. It's like,
Well, it can spur you on if you take anger out in the form of going to prove someone wrong almost. Like if someone's wronged you and told you maybe you're a bit overweight, they've said that and you're angry at them. And then you decide to go out and train hard and like run a big race to like prove them wrong almost. And yeah, like once you've started that journey, you probably won't really think of them, but it set it in motion and it started this whole thing that's actually going to benefit you a lot.
Yeah. You cannot always go on that energy because it's, you need to be very careful. It's a fire. Some people can burn out. Yeah. But mostly it's one of the very, very nice, good tools if you transform it into a way of, just like taking that as petrol for yourself. It works. It works. I wouldn't recommend to stay on that because, as I said, it's a fire and the fire can burn you out. But I've got really nice practices for letting out the anger, and this is it's like a basic tantric practice. Is a screaming, or even like nowadays. Why don't you think we have so many, those, how they call it? There are rooms where you
can go and smash stuff.
You go and you smash everything. Why? Because this is how you let it out. I think this is the best thing uh, uh, ever being created in our world. But what I do a lot, I take people to the forest. I've got a few places I go. I take people to the forest and I kind of invite them to scream. And thinking about that, oh my God, is so strange. Imagine you tell me, oh, I've got so much stuck there. I'm like, oh, let's go to the forest. You're like, what? So we come into the forest and you'd be like, no, wait, what? And then you've got all these programs. Oh, no, it's how? Oh, there are people there. So, and we come there. Why the forest? Because it's the grounding, is the best place where the earth, the trees, everything around you, it's like it's the nature, it's the Mother Earth which supports you. So you can let it out there and it will be gone in a way it should be. So that it won't be stuck anywhere. Yeah. And then you will be surprised how people open up, and then how many times I've been hearing, oh my God, that was the best thing I ever did in my life. And the only thing we did, we just let it out. We just screamed. It's so easy. But because from like our childhood, we've been taught, stop screaming, stop doing this, don't be this, don't do that, da 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 da. I mean, how, as grown up like this as an adult, how can you change these patterns which you've been first from your parents, then in the school, then in society? It's hard. It's hard. Another thing, which, I mean, that's hardcore. I love it. I use it as a practice. Very, very rare, but that's about, obviously, that's about smashing things, yeah? What I do, if that's the peak of, like, that's it. That's it. I like to break the dishes. It's exactly the same. And it's not like smashing whatever you see. It's a consciousness breaking of the dishes. So I go into the kitchen, I look at whatever I have, and I'm thinking, that's an old dish. I can kind of, it's like throwing it away.
So
but
sacrifice
yeah,
it,
sacrifice. And I'm saying to my kids, just let me be. I've got to practice. I mean, they grow up with that, so it's fine. They're like, oh my God, okay. But they're fine. Like, I know that my kids will grow up, like, nothing will ever bother them. Seriously, it's just like anything is normal for them, which is not normal for anyone other people. But then when you actually go to this point as a practice and you smash one dish, just one plate, then take it, put it in the bin. It feels so good. I wouldn't recommend that to people who do not know what I'm talking about energy-wise, because it's like a special ritual. But then it works.
Yeah. People are just going to go out and buy a load of cheap plates. Just leave them on the side every time they're angry.
Yeah.
Just get one.
Or go to, Greek restaurants. That's a special ritual. They break dishes there. Oh my God, it's amazing. Just do something what can just take it out. Screaming, for some people running, or someone, I don't know, but I would say to take the anger out, you need something very powerful. It needs to be something bam. If we're talking about going into the heart, this is where you accept. And the heart is about being true, being honest, sometimes being nasty when it's needed. It's not about loving everyone and doing everything for every single person. No, it's about saying no as well.
Knowing what matters to you and knowing when something aligns with your values, and if it doesn't, a lot of the time we'll still go along with it because we've been sort of told that you need to, or we might feel human nature is to be part of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll often do things that maybe we're not fully comfortable with to fit in.
Yes.
So it's, being aware of that, I suppose, and trying to break out of that. And
not to lose someone, for example. And this is when you really stepping on your neck and you basically, you have your own values, but you are so desperate for this or that, or for someone, that you don't actually say, you know what, I don't accept this. And this is what I'm talking about. This is when we lie to ourselves. So we agree inside without an agreement. We agree to actually hold this, not follow our own values, our acceptance, just to, let's say, be, because I work a lot with mostly women, and obviously, why they come. Have problems with a partner, have problems at work, or I don't know, in life in general. I don't know who I am. Yeah. But then how many people live in the quite toxic relationship? Why? Because they don't talk to themselves. They don't accept themselves the way they are. And they don't say loud, do you know what? This doesn't work for me. Why? Because they're scared to lose someone or to stay on their own, especially
the fear of the unknown, the other side of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? We have a say in Russian. My mom used to say that all the time. She used to say, do you know what? It's better to be on your own rather than being with a motherfucker. So, and that's
True.
brilliant.
Yeah.
At least you know your values.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of, like you said before, about the emotions and how we're taught to respond to our emotions comes from early childhood. And I spoke about this quite recently on the podcast, was about the idea of validating emotions. And I saw this reel from someone who's sort of parenting influencer or some sort of thing. But she was talking about how when a kid maybe comes back from school and says, oh, I hate this teacher, and they're quite upset, very often the parents might say, oh, don't be silly. Like, the teacher's doing their best to try and give you a bright future. There's no need to be angry. And you've not understood them. You've not listened at all. So you're teaching them in that moment to not actually feel. It's not okay to feel what they feel. And that rather you should say, okay, tell me why you think that. and then through that explain maybe where they're going wrong with their thought pattern. And that follows into adulthood. She was talking specifically about children, but we grow up and we're still those children, and all we want is our emotions to be validated. It's why when someone's struggling and maybe they open up to someone for the first time, and by no fault of that person, with good intentions, they listen to what the person says, and then they try and relate to it. They try and say, well, when this happened to me, I did that, or I felt this. But the person who is struggling doesn't need to hear about what you did or what you went through. They want to just be listened to and heard. And in that moment, they don't necessarily feel heard. So yeah, I think emotions and validating emotions is a massive thing that is important for childhood, but also adults. We're just big children.
Of course, we all have the inner child inside until we die. And it's really good to be connected to that. But then being an adult, you have an inner child and you have an adult. And this is the combination. And when you basically, you can kind of collaborate both is great. Very good news. But then talking about emotions and how to as well transform it, coming back to art, I would say it's not only, symbols. This is what we started with. You just, sometimes you just need a pen and paper, and you can just do this scratching, just breathing out and screaming out to that paper, because this white piece of paper can take anything. Maybe the person in front of you will be not happy to take it, but the white piece of paper can take anything. And if you let it go on there, and this is the easiest practice. That's the easiest practice you can have. With a pen, with a pencil, you just scratch it. And you let it go. And you use so many paper as you need. And it's just incredible how you just get to the point when you feel, oh, I let it go. With this very simple, just doing nothing really.
You're just scribbling.
Yeah, scribbling. That's it.
So the people you work with, you spoke about sort of one-on-one stuff. You do sort of some group stuff as well.
Yes.
What are the biggest revelations? What are the things that they come to you afterwards and say that they've learned about themselves?
I've been doing groups and retreats since 2016. And we were the first ones to actually be, yeah, let's go somewhere. I've been, oh my God, places I've been to is just incredible. Apart from like Europe and obviously, I love Greece. We used to do a lot of retreats in Corfu, in some other places, Italy, then Spain, France, and then COVID came. We used to do even, how much I love it that we used to do online retreats.
Okay.
So not only groups, I had a big online school through, which started through COVID times, where, it was like one of my babies at the moment. I think for me, online now, it's not that interesting because there is nothing better than, connection. I love hugging people. I love, just looking in their eyes, being here, feeling that. So yeah, group practices is the best. And I love women circles, women retreats, women circles. That's what we do. I say we because I work with a partner, another amazing woman. So Yeah, we just combine all different kinds of practices. We have a signature retreats. We take groups to Bali, and as well, this is like a big dream coming true. Long time ago, I used to dream about going to Bali. Now I go to Bali every half a year because I take groups there, and I love it. And it's my home of my soul. It's an absolutely amazing place, but you need to know who you're going there with and how you're going, because it's alive. It's like my paintings. It's alive something. The portal. Bali is the alive place. It is true that karma gets you there. Transformation is like that. In a week time on retreat, you can just come back and you will be a different person. And I actually have to say that every time I do this kind of thing, it's obviously for people, but then I get the different new level as well. So it's the new level, new level, new level. It's open up all the time. And this is why I cannot stop. I love it. And when I see so deep, and even, even in, let's say, the like 1 day retreat, practice for 3 hours, already I look at these people and I see that shift. I see the different sparkle in the eyes. I know that sometimes, like, at the moment, there are so many things, so many offers, a lot of different kinds, and even, with some stimulation, microdosing and all that. No, for me, it doesn't work. No, 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 no. I only work with consciousness and the soul and the body. So this is just the three things. And this is always harder because, as I said before, you need to dig. You need to dig.
Yeah. It's the raw ingredients. There's nothing extra added in.
And you have to be capable to actually accept anything what comes out. And when you start kind of opening up the layers, the first layer is not very pleasant. It's not pleasant at all. It's not pleasant for the person who is opening up that layer. But for me, as a practitioner, as the channeler, I have to be there. And sometimes I have to be the Mother Earth, have to be the Father Sky, I don't know. I just have to be there. And there is no Polina there. There is just that flow. So that is important. And a lot of people who actually take this responsibility to do the practices, they say, oh my God, I did that circle or I did that retreat. I was so tired after that. I have a question. Why? You only get tired when you do it from your ego. You only get tired when you do it from your personality. We don't do it from our personality. When I'm on that yoga mat in the circle, there is it's hard to explain, but it's not me as a personality. Is that big soul, that consciousness, that energy, that master, and then this is where we go from. So it's a bigger picture. So yeah, I love. We've been to Costa Rica, even in jungle. Oh my God, it was a crazy experience. We've been living in a jungle for a week. It was even for me, it was so scary. It was like every night I was thinking, oh my God, if I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, please, I have kids.
Just under the stars, like sort of camping.
Yes, it was hardcore. But I am a hardcore girl, so yeah. It's I cannot not do that because is such a big part of my life. It's so important for me. It's just one of those things where I know what and how it can change.
The intrinsic side for you that you feel every time you go out there, like you said, you level up and you sort of feel something new maybe, but also on the extrinsic side, you're taking all these people with you and you're seeing their changes and their transformations and their changes as they come back a different person, right?
Yeah, there is a lot of laughter and tears and deep silence and loud screaming, but that's all the transformation, and that's all with the practices, and that is all under control. When I say under control, is I create the space where I hold that space, and I know that I can deal with anything. I can deal seriously with anything. And then when I see those women being reborn, this is amazing. Actually, on the 13th of December, we have a day retreat, a women's circle in London. And it's going to be absolutely incredible thing. That's a new format we're doing, and it will kind of, in a day, it will clear up loads and loads of layers. So yeah, if anyone will look through and being interested, it's something. When I come home after that, I would obviously work all day. But it's not about working. It's about living and being there. When I come home, I cannot sleep. I'm like, whoa, that was amazing.
Energized
that was
by
so
it.
good.
Yeah. Come back more energized than when you left in the morning.
Fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously we've spoken about art, and there's loads of different creative ways for people to get these emotions and these feelings and this energy out of them. And we spoke about Sean, who's been on the podcast prior, and it's a conversation I had with him about how dance for him is that outlet. So regardless of what that creative outlet is, why is it so important for people to find something to get out?
Well, because we're grounding. Because whatever you do, you taking that out of your body and then you ground it. With dance, and I told you, and what Sean does is absolutely incredible, and I will be saying that every time I see him, because this is a huge. It's a huge blessing to be able to teach other people to talk with their body, and this is what I do with just the compass. And it is my superpowers to explain very strange and difficult structures sometimes, because apart from whatever it's, like a basic symbols in sacred geometry, I channel a lot of symbols and things we do. And sometimes I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, how did we do it online? Like, how did I explain how to draw this? I channeled that. When I channeled that, because it starts like this, I can, I don't know, drive, and I see the structure. I'm like, oh my God, again. Then I do the sketch. Then I'm looking at that sketch and I'm thinking, how am I supposed to explain that to the people, let's say? And then while I'm doing the class, it just comes with the flow. And I don't know how it comes. The same when I start the painting, I never know what's going to be in the end. Never. It just, no. It just lives its own life. And I'm just there as there is a flow and it goes through my hands. Yes, of course, I'm there as a soul, and it wouldn't be the other way, but I never know what's going to be in the end. So for people, it's very important. Some people do, I don't know, knitting. is great because when you do something with your hands, you take this out. This is grounding. I don't know. I've heard once someone said to me, "What is this? What are you doing? Compass, pencils? What's that?" I said, "Well, it's important." "What is it important of?" Like, well, you will never understand if you didn't try. And sometimes it's not for a certain individual, but most of the people who had that experience and who had that tool, they come back and back and back and back to that because at least the first thing which my tool gives is the relaxation. So that's for sure. Why? Again, it's easy. You just focus on something. So your brain stops being so loud because you have to focus in just in a circle. Yeah, yeah. And it's not about creating something incredible. It's about just letting go and being within that practice.
So, with regards to these retreats and the one-to-one work that you do, what is it that you get out of it personally, out of imparting your knowledge onto these people?
I'm doing something very important. I'm creating a better life, a better world, and more people who connect to their freedom, connect to their heart. And for me, that is probably the main thing. So, yes, obviously, if we're talking about energy wise and flow, it is money involved. And I do charge quite a lot, especially for one-to-one, because I know what I do. And that's the value as well. That's my personal value. But then that is not on the first or even not on the second. The most important is to actually help people to open up and live their life. Live. When I say live, it's live. It's like there are no limits because each of us is the creator. And whatever you have in your life, you created that some time ago. Whatever you have now, whatever you're going to have after, is you creating that. From anything, start from your set of mind, from your whatever behavior, relationship with other people. It's all together. It's like a big cake. So if you start cutting the piece and it's really nice, you start eating it and enjoying it, and you're like, wow. Because the taste of life comes with that process. When I see changes in people's life, that's for me, that is the best. Like, I cannot even explain that. Is when I've got two options there. It's like when people come to me for a painting and they have a special request, and I either do something especially for them, created, or they just go through collection and they see something and they go, and they start shaking and they have tears, or they have there is some kind of impact in the body. That's the click. And when I see that, I'm like, now I know why I channeled this. And then that's one part, that's with the art. But with all the different other, because as I said, yeah, I do a lot of different things. But it's all connected to one main point. to open up your consciousness, awareness, and to just awake and start living with a taste.
So in terms of that, like living life, people are so caught up in the busyness of their lives nowadays. There's work. They're always going from one meeting to another. People who work from home are just stopping one meeting online and then going straight into another one. There's this feeling that you need to be constantly doing stuff to be succeeding or to getting somewhere in life. What are the common barriers that you see that are stopping people living life?
Productivity. You need to be productive nowadays. When I have, especially in one-to-one sessions, I always give like a homework, let's put it that way. Yeah. And the first one is you have to have one day doing nothing. Doing nothing. They go, doing nothing, especially, the busy businesswoman. Imagine that. Doing nothing? Are you crazy? I cannot do nothing. I'm like, yeah, you can. Again, the goosebumps. It's the flow. Thank you. What do you mean doing nothing? Like, it's impossible. So you do nothing, and then the next step, you think about nothing. Like you don't think, or you think about nothing means you don't think. No. It's impossible. I'm like, okay, let's try not for a day. Let's try for half of the day. And it's not a weekend. It's through the week. No. I cannot. No, I've got this schedule. I've got this. Okay. Just to give you an example, I live like this for many, many years. Friday, for me, starts with bath. When the kids are at school, I wake up and I have my morning, my beauty morning on a Friday, because Friday is the day of Venus. That's the planet and that's the goddess. If we're talking about woman, that's the goddess of enjoyment and self-love. So I do bath with rose petals and oils and salt and this and that. I go there, I enjoy myself, I listen to mantras. I just, I'm having my time. And my Friday morning starts at whenever I wake up, and that can be any time because I like to sleep. I'm like that cat, the whole and then I go to the bath, and then and it's slow, and it's very slow. And then maybe towards to lunchtime, I kind of start being social. I don't talk to anyone. I don't put the TV. Oh, the TV, that's another thing. How many people come from work, and the first thing they do, they put the TV. I have a TV at home. I do watch it sometimes. But when I'm interested in something, I don't have it on just to have that noise. No, what's the point? I like the silence. I love being. The only thing I could listen is, music in general. I love music, all kinds. But when I'm going through that deep relaxation and very, very deep connection to myself, the only thing would be mantras. And there is no question about it. Or just silence. And when I obviously say this to my client, they go shocked. They're like, what? No, I don't have time for that. I'm like, okay. So you don't have time for yourself. So you do everything for everyone. You run. You do this and this. And then you don't have time for yourself. How are you supposed to be happy? How are you supposed to hear to what's inside? How can you listen to yourself if you're always running?
Never give yourself a chance to.
It's impossible. It's impossible. Then they go, oh, do you know what? Or, okay, some people don't like bath. Some people really recharge from going for a walk. And myself, I love going for a walk, love forests and nature. That's my another battery. Go for a walk with no phone. When you go for a walk, you go for a walk. You put the phone, you leave the phone in the car, and off you go. And when you do that, you realize that actually this world is quite beautiful. This world is a nice place. And there are so many insights, there are so many things you can get from very easy steps, from very easy. It's not even practice, it's just something we were born with. Nature, Mother Nature. This is the biggest recharge. So it's like, you know, uh, there is a really, actually, for people who would be listening to that and saying, oh, no way, this is impossible. There is a very, very easy practice. That's a tantric practice. Osho created that many years ago. So now it's transformed into our busy life. On your phone, which you always have, on your phone, you put alarm, best every hour, but let's say every 2 hours. You put the alarm at the same time, just for 1 minute. So let's say the alarm rings and you have only 1 minute from that time. And you do what you do. You just stay still. You just stay still. Whatever you are doing, doesn't matter. Just stay still. If you're sitting doing the messages, emails, you leave it for only 1 minute. And if we break it up through the day and you do it every 2 hours, let's say 4 or 5 times. So 4 or 5, I like 5 more. 5 minutes a day with a breakage of 2 hours, you stay still. And what you do, you just listen. What's going on inside your body? You know, a lot of people, after all kinds of different practices we do, especially when it's something very powerful, tantric, and connected to the energy, people who never felt the energy inside, their hands are shaking, their body is vibrating, and they go, oh, something is wrong with me. Oh my God, what's going on? What happened? I'm like, wow, congratulations. Finally. It's the energy. I'm saying that and I just feel feel it. It's the energy. It just started moving inside you. And this is the best tool. When you start actually feeling that, you realize that you're bigger than just a head and the hands and the whole body. You start understanding that there is life inside. Because when there is no energy, we're dead. There is always an energy inside our body. The trouble is people don't listen to it and do not accept it. And when they actually feel it, they think, oh, something is wrong. Oh my God, that's it. Something is wrong.
And they drown it out. So that silence and that moment of just sitting in stillness is like a massive thing, right? So like you said, people come in, they turn the TV on straight away just to have some noise, or they're always on their phone. If they're not, they're listening to something, and there's always something else going on. So yeah, I can understand why if you tell someone to sit still and just have a day doing nothing and just chilling, a lot of people in this day and age are going to be like, nah, I can't do that. It's the easiest thing to do, but it's also the hardest thing to do. And it reminds me actually of this. I read a book by Oliver Berkman about 4,000 weeks is the average length of life, and sort of coming to terms with the length and how short life is and why it's important to live it. And he spoke about this art teacher that, and it was like that sort of first task, right? Go to an art gallery and find a painting or find a bit of art and just sit in front of it for 3 hours, I think it was. He was like, what? And he went and did it himself to sort of test it out and to see. And he said like the first 45 minutes to an hour was just his mind going, what are we doing? What is this? Like, come on, we could be doing something else. We could be more productive in this time. And then after an hour, he started noticing little things about the painting that he hadn't noticed before and ways things were done that represented something else. And the more you sit and look at it, and it was that lesson of if you can sit in that and push through the initial barrier, that's when you learn things and you see things that you can't see in that short productivity mindset, like one thing to the next. So yeah, I find it really interesting.
It's amazing. It's great you saying that, because when people are buying my paintings, I give the instruction of meditation to activate the painting working properly and massively impacting on your life. You need to connect with it. And the meditation itself, it's always sitting in front of the painting and just diving into that. And then after a while, you notice so much. And then it changes all the time because it's an alive kind of structure. It's great. You see, the thing is, being productive. Yeah. I grew up with, let's say, with no calmness. We used to go to school. I used to be in English school. It was like a posh school. So we used to have studies not 5 days a week. I used to study 6 days a week. So Saturday was like a short day, but we still used to go to school. Then I would come home and I would be like, and then there is like all this homework and stuff. So Saturday would be still like a working day. And then on Sunday, the only day, and you know, if you look even in Bible, Sunday is the day for relax. My mom would be like, oh, no. We need to do this. And I was always thinking, why? The only thing I want is to lay down on my sofa doing nothing. And should be, no, you have to clean this, we have to go there, you have to cook and all the. It was always, being productive, doing so. And if you only sit down for a minute, then why are you not doing something? And that pattern actually walked in my life and in my mind for many years. And when I obviously realized that this is wrong, and why do I have to do what I don't want to do? And I was putting pressure on people around me as well, on my family, saying, "Oh, why are you sitting? Like, why are you sitting? Why are you laying? What's wrong with you? What's going on? We have to, be out there, I don't know, doing something." When I realized that this is not needed, and actually our body needs to relax. Our body needs to relax. And going back to dancers, because my daughter is a dancer, and her structure is this way. She is very active. She dances every day, but she needs to relax. So I keep on saying to her all the time, you know what? Your body needs to relax. Just go lay down, do nothing. The whole Sunday she can just spend, or Saturday she can spend in her pajamas, laying in her bed, doing nothing.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Important.
And I would, if I feel quite energetic and I want to do something, I do that. But I don't care, I really, I don't care. If I don't want to do anything, I will spend the whole day reading a book, just watching through the window. I don't care. It's again the connection to your body. It's whatever you feel is right now. So I wish everybody could actually listen to their body.
Yeah, for sure. And in terms of the art that you create, people who look at your art and appreciate your art, if there was one thing that you wanted them to take away from your work and beyond necessarily just the actual art itself, what would that one thing be?
Awakening. I think it's all about awakening. It's all about seeing things in a bigger picture. It's like on the level of personality, we have all these ticks we need to tick. But when you go beyond and higher, and when you listen to your heart, when you connect to that, there is one energy, the most important energy in life is the energy of love. This is when you connect it to your heart, yeah? And the energy of love is unconditional. It's not about loving someone. Love itself, when I'm connected completely to that energy, I'm not saying that I'm always, no, I'm a normal person. I can, be in different stages. But when I'm getting to that higher level, when I'm connected to that, I become love. And love is in anything. Even bad things is as well the other grade of love. So when we awaken, when we feel it, we just see the bigger picture of anything what happens. So imagine you just kind of go a little bit higher, and you connect to divine, and this is when you become a creator.
Polina, the way that I like to finish my episodes is to ask my guests to leave a question for the listener. So as I mentioned to you before, I used to love listening. I still do, listening to podcasts and going and having a conversation around what I've listened to and sort of new information. So if the listener now was to go away and ask a question to a family member, a stranger, a friend, to start a conversation, what question would that be?
Do you live? Do you live in the way where there is no limits? And would you like to try that? Would you be interested in opening up?
Yeah, definitely start some good conversations. Polina, thank you so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed the conversation. If people want to find you online, keep up to date with what you're doing, where can they do that?
Instagram, website. I'm actually, when you were saying about phone and scrolling down, I actually don't do it. And sometimes I have a friend calling me, did you see that? Did you see that? I'm like, no, I don't know. Because I don't do it. But I'm very, very good at answering the messages. And my contacts.
Using it for the pros and not getting sucked in by the cons of...
No, I'm not interested in that. I don't even watch stories of my friends. I'm sorry. Very rare. Yeah. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it. So to the listener, if you have enjoyed this episode, please do share it with someone you think would find some value from it. If you haven't already, wherever you're listening, watching, please do subscribe or follow the show and leave a rating as well if you enjoyed it. It really helps the show to grow and to be thrown out into the algorithm to more people. On Instagram as well at Lonely Chapter Podcast. Tag us in the conversation and keep it going over there. Otherwise, thank you for listening. Stay curious, and I will see you in the next one.